Deep beneath the Earth's surface, far from the eyes of the world, something incredible was hiding. A secret that no one on the planet had ever known about. A secret so powerful, it could change the fate of the entire galaxy. It was a entire armored of 1,000,000 ships, silently resting beneath the mountains, waiting for the moment to awaken. For centuries, Earth had kept this secret, not because it was too dangerous, but because it was never needed. Humanity had lived peacefully, unaware of the extraordinary power they had hidden so deep beneath the Earth. But the world was changing, and so was the galaxy. A quiet whisper of impending danger was growing, and Earth's time to remain hidden was coming to an end. The fleet had been built long ago, by an ancient civilization that had long since disappeared. The ships were unlike anything anyone on Earth had ever seen. They were massive, sleek, and shining, with designs that were not just practical, but beautiful. Each ship was built for war, but it wasn't just about power, it was about something much more important: survival. The people of Earth had no idea that this fleet existed. It was buried so deep in the Earth's crust, hidden beneath layers of rock and stone, that even the most advanced technologies could not detect it. Only a few knew the truth, those who had built the fleet, and those who had safeguarded it for generations. The task had always been simple: to protect the fleet, and wait. Wait for the day when it would be needed, and that day was coming. In the bustling cities above, life went on as normal. People went to work, studied, and spent their days like nothing had changed. But something deep within the mountains had begun to stir. The ground beneath their feet had started to shake, faint tremors that only the most sensitive instruments could detect. But to the people, it was nothing more than a usual earthquake. Little did they know, it was the first sign that the fleet was awakening. In the quiet, underground bunkers where the fleet had been kept, the alarm had already sounded. The deep humming of the massive engines began to grow louder. Power systems that had been dormant for centuries flickered to life, their lights glowing like a distant star. The fleet was about to rise from its ancient slumber, but who would be there to see it? Who would be there to understand what was happening? As the world above carried on with their daily lives, a hidden military force beneath their feet was preparing for something they had never seen before. The fleet was awakening, and the secrets of Earth's past were about to be revealed. For the people who had kept the secret, there was no turning back now. They had known this day would come. They had always known that the time would come when Earth would need the fleet. But they had hoped, for all of humanity's sake, that they would never have to use it, that the peace would last, and the galaxy's dangers would remain distant. But that peace was fragile, and the galaxy had other plans. The question wasn't whether the fleet would awaken, it was when the galaxy would find out about it, and how they would react. The fleet wasn't just a collection of ships, it was a statement that Earth wasn't as weak as the universe thought it was. A statement that, hidden beneath the mountains, there was a force powerful enough to take on any enemy. And now, the time had come. The ships stirred beneath the Earth's surface, ready to rise, but not yet. Not until the moment was right. Somewhere, far in the stars, the alien empires watched. They had never feared Earth. They had no reason to. Earth was a small, insignificant planet, with no real power, at least. That's what they thought. The galaxy had no idea that deep beneath the Earth's crust, hidden for centuries, was the force that could change everything. They were about to learn that Earth was no longer just a planet, it was a sleeping giant. The people of Earth had no idea that their world was about to change forever. But the moment would come soon, and when it did, they would learn the truth that Earth had always been stronger than they had ever known. For now, all was still. But that stillness was only temporary. Soon, the fleet would rise, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The ground trembled, a low vibrating hum reverberating through the air, signaling that something deep within the Earth was coming to life. The subtle quakes grew stronger, until they couldn't be ignored. It wasn't a typical tremor caused by the shifting of tectonic plates. No, this was different. This was the beginning of something much more significant, something that had been buried for centuries, waiting patiently for the right moment to emerge. Above ground, life continued in its usual rhythm, with people going about their daily routines, oblivious to the massive forces stirring beneath them. But there were those who knew, those who had kept the secret of Earth's hidden fleet. They had been preparing for this day for a long time, knowing that the time to awaken the fleet was near. It wasn't a matter of choice, it was a matter of survival. Deep below, the massive ships began to stir. Their engines, which had been dormant for generations, started to hum with life. It was as if the very Earth was awakening along with them. Ancient systems, long untouched, flickered on one by one. powering up the colossal warships that had remained in hibernation for so long. There was a crackle of energy in the air, a feeling of anticipation that filled the underground bunkers. The fleet wasn't like any of the ships the world had ever seen. Their sleek, metallic bodies gleamed with an otherworldly sheen, and their designs were both elegant and deadly. They were built for war, but they were also works of art, crafted by a civilization that had long since vanished. The people who had built them had designed them not just to conquer, but to survive against the vastness of space and the unpredictable threats that lurked within it. As the ships slowly began to rise from the ground, one by one, their movements were precise, calculated. There was no panic, no rush. It was a silent, coordinated effort. The ships, built to glide effortlessly through the air and space, seemed to glide effortlessly through the thick rock and soil that had encased them for centuries. Each ship was a fortress in itself, powerful and intimidating, but there was an eerie calm that surrounded their rise. It was as though the fleet had been waiting for this moment, knowing it would come. Up above, the first signs of the fleet's awakening began to surface. The skies darkened slightly as massive shadows passed overhead, their shapes barely visible at first, but unmistakable. People looked up in confusion, wondering what was happening, but their curiosity was quickly overshadowed by the strange silence that fell upon the land. It wasn't the quiet of peace, but the quiet before the storm. Earth was holding its breath. Meanwhile, the command center deep beneath the Earth's surface was buzzing with activity. Operators worked feverishly, monitoring every aspect of the fleet's reactivation. Systems were being checked, reports filed, and orders passed down with precision. This wasn't a time for mistakes. The fleet's awakening had to be flawless. They knew that once the ships were fully operational, there would be no turning back. The fleet had been hidden for a reason. It was not only a weapon but a message. A statement that Earth was not weak. That Earth would never be an easy target. The galaxy had long forgotten about the small blue planet, considering it insignificant compared to the vast, powerful empires that roamed the stars. But Earth was about to remind them of something crucial. It was not a planet to be underestimated. The rest of the world began to notice something was wrong. The weather patterns began to shift, the ground shaking more violently now, but even more unsettling were the strange flashes of light in the sky. They couldn't be stars. Stars didn't move like that. Some people tried to film the strange sights, but their cameras couldn't capture the full scope of what was happening. It was as though reality itself was bending, and the impossible was becoming possible. As the fleet's emergence reached its peak, the final ship broke free from the ground, towering high above the mountains. It was a spectacle of pure power. This was no ordinary ship. It was the crown jewel of the fleet, a symbol of humanity's hidden might. Its surface shimmered with an iridescent glow, and its engines roared to life with a deep, thunderous sound that could be heard for miles. The earth seemed to tremble in response, as if acknowledging the arrival of something far more powerful than anything it had known before. In the command center, a single operator stood at the helm, watching the final ship take its place among the others. The moment of truth had arrived. The fleet was now ready. But for what? What were they preparing for? No one knew. No one could predict what would happen next. The only thing that was certain was that Earth was no longer the same. The hidden fleet, a secret kept for so long, was no longer a myth. It was real, and it was waiting. The people of Earth would soon find out what the rest of the galaxy had already known. Earth was not a planet to be ignored. The fleet, built in secret, was now Earth's most powerful weapon, and the galaxy was about to learn what happens when you underestimate the most underestimated planet in the universe. As the ships began to move, the world above would be forced to face the consequences of a truth they had long been unaware of. Earth had always been ready, it just needed the right moment to reveal it, and now that moment had come. The quiet hum of the fleet's engines reverberated through the mountains, signaling the beginning of something no one had ever anticipated. For the first time in history, the hidden fleet of Earth, a massive armada once buried beneath the planet's surface, had risen to the sky. The world above was still reeling from the shock, trying to process what had just occurred. But one thing was clear: Earth had just revealed a power the galaxy was completely unprepared for. Far above, in the darkness of space, the alien empires had watched Earth for centuries, dismissing it as a backwater planet, insignificant in the grand scheme of the universe. They had their empires, their warships, their galactic strategies. Earth was a mere dot in the vastness of the cosmos. But no longer. As the fleet ascended into space, its ships breaking through the atmosphere like giant metal birds, the galaxy's arrogance was about to meet its match. The first fleet ship cut through the stars like a comet, its gleaming surface reflecting the light of distant suns. Earth's armada was a spectacle, every ship moving in perfect synchrony, their engines roaring as they propelled forward. The ships weren't just powerful, they were beautiful, designed with an elegance that spoke of a civilization's pride in their creation. The quiet, calculated movements of the fleet made it clear, Earth had always been ready, and now, they were here. Earth's ships were not simply vessels, they were a statement. Humanity had learned from the greatest minds in the darkest moments, building a fleet that could rival the most powerful in the galaxy. The ships carried within them not only the might of Earth's people, but also their resolve. This was more than just a fleet, it was the culmination of centuries of secret preparation, a message to the stars that Earth was no longer a forgotten planet. Back on the surface, the world was in chaos. People looked up to the sky, confused and awestruck, as the fleet soared into space. Governments scrambled to make sense of the situation, but none of them had prepared for something like this. They had no answers, no plans. The Earth they had known, the peaceful world, was no more. The balance of power had shifted, and no one knew how to stop it. But even as Earth's fleet ascended, the alien forces, who had been monitoring the situation from afar, began to take notice. The first reaction was one of disbelief. How could a planet so insignificant, so overlooked, have built such a powerful weapon? But that disbelief quickly turned into concern. They had made a grave mistake in underestimating Earth. The galaxy's largest and most powerful empires suddenly felt the unease of knowing that their reign might not last. In the command center, deep beneath the Earth's surface, the operators watched the ships launch with steady resolve. Their training had prepared them for this moment, but nothing could have prepared them for the reality of it. As the final ship broke through the atmosphere, its metallic body gleaming in the cold vacuum of space, the room fell silent. They had done it. The fleet was now fully operational, and Earth's first strike in this cosmic war had begun. A nervous excitement filled the room, but there was no time for celebration. The real test was about to begin. The ships weren't just tools of destruction, they were meant for survival. Survival in the face of an unknown threat that had long been lurking in the depths of the galaxy. No one knew what awaited them in space, but one thing was certain, Earth would not back down. It would fight for its place among the stars, no matter the cost. Suddenly, a blip appeared on the screens in front of the operators. A ship, not one of Earth's fleet, but an alien ship. It appeared on the radar with alarming speed. The fleet had drawn attention. The alien empire, known for their aggressive tactics, had dispatched their warships to investigate the sudden emergence of Earth's fleet. It was no longer a matter of waiting. The confrontation had already begun. The first shots came quickly. Blazing beams of energy from the alien ships tore through space, aimed directly at Earth's fleet. But the ships of Earth were not helpless. With calculated precision, they returned fire, their weapons systems roaring to life. The clash was unlike anything anyone had ever seen. The alien ships, faster and more agile, darted around Earth's fleet, trying to gain the upper hand. But the Earth ships were built for endurance, for power, and most importantly, for survival. In the midst of the chaos, the human crews worked with seamless coordination. They had been trained for every possible scenario, but nothing could have prepared them for the intensity of the battle. Every decision, every move, could mean life or death. The fate of Earth and, potentially, the entire galaxy hung in the balance. As the battle raged, the alien ships realized that they had underestimated Earth. The planet was not some primitive backwater. It was a force to be reckoned with, a planet that had been hiding its true potential for far too long. With every strike, Earth's fleet pushed back against the alien invaders, refusing to yield. The first wave of alien ships retreated, but Earth's fleet knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy was not going to let Earth's defiance go unchallenged. A greater force would come, and Earth, with its hidden fleet and unwavering determination, would be ready. The war had just begun, and Earth had made its mark on the stars, but the true battle was yet to come. Would Earth's fleet be enough to fend off the might of the galaxy's greatest empires? Or would humanity be overwhelmed by forces far beyond their control? One thing was certain, this was only the beginning, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The alien empire, once confident in their superiority, had now been forced to reconsider everything they thought they knew about Earth. The first clash had been brutal, with Earth's fleet pushing back with unexpected strength and precision, but the galaxy's greatest empires were not ones to accept defeat easily. They had underestimated Earth, and now they were determined to correct their mistake. What had begun as a battle between two forces was now escalating into a full-scale war, one that would stretch across the stars. In the distant reaches of the galaxy, communication lines were buzzing. The Alien Council, a coalition of the most powerful species in the universe, convened in their command chambers, discussing the implications of the unexpected Earth fleet. They were not a species that lost easily, and the thought of being outwitted by a planet they had never even considered a threat was a blow to their pride. The strategy was simple: send reinforcements, send their best warriors, and crush the human fleet before it could become a real danger. The galaxy had ruled for centuries. It would not fall to a single, insignificant planet. Back on Earth, the commanders of the fleet were making their own preparations. Every moment was crucial. As the alien ships retreated, they knew the enemy was regrouping. The question wasn't whether they could defeat their enemies, it was whether they could survive long enough to make their mark. Earth's fleet had proven its might, but it was not without flaws. Some ships had sustained damage, and every move they made would need to be calculated carefully. They were fighting not only for their survival but for the survival of their entire species. As Earth's fleet moved deeper into space, they encountered more alien ships, each one more powerful and more aggressive than the last. The once invaders were now retaliating with everything they had. They had underestimated Earth's resilience, but now they had learned a painful lesson. What had started as a skirmish was rapidly becoming a war, one that Earth's people hadn't asked for, but were now forced to fight. The first real battle of this new war took place near the edge of the galaxy. The two forces collided in a fiery storm of energy and weapons. Blazing trails of fire arced through the blackness of space as Earth's ships fired back, the sound of their weapons reverberating across the void. The alien ships, sleek and fast, darted through the battlefield with lethal grace. But Earth's ships fought with something they had never encountered: sheer, unrelenting will. Every ship in Earth's fleet was equipped for survival. Unlike the alien forces, whose ships were designed for swift conquest, Earth's fleet had been built with endurance in mind. The ships could take hits, recover, and fight back. The crews had been trained not only to fight but to outlast. Earth was fighting not just for victory but for its very existence. The alien forces, though powerful, were beginning to feel the pressure. They had thought Earth would be an easy target, a quick conquest, but the battle had been harder than anticipated. The humans were resilient, and with every alien ship that fell, the galaxy's invaders began to question their assumptions. Could they really conquer Earth? Could they really defeat a people who had been hiding this kind of power for centuries? In the midst of the chaos, a small but significant event occurred. A new, unknown ship entered the battlefield. Unlike anything seen before, it was sleek, angular, and exuded an aura of mystery. It was Earth's new weapon, a ship unlike any other in the fleet, built in secret as a final line of defense. It moved with deadly precision, slipping between enemy fire with uncanny grace. The new ship was equipped with advanced weaponry, something that could turn the tide of the battle in an instant. The alien forces had no idea what had just entered the fray. They were about to learn the true extent of Earth's capabilities. As the battle raged on, the fleet commanders knew they had to act fast. Their goal was no longer just to defend Earth, it was to send a message to the galaxy. They weren't going to sit back and let the galaxy's empires walk all over them. They weren't going to let the invaders wipe out their way of life. The fleet's next move would be decisive. It was time to show the galaxy that Earth was not afraid. Back in the alien command center, reports flooded in from all corners of the galaxy. The Earth fleet was stronger than anticipated, and the alien empire was facing the possibility of a prolonged war. The once feared invaders were now facing their first true challenge in centuries, and they were beginning to realize that Earth might not be so easily defeated. But pride ran deep in the alien ranks. They would not accept defeat. They would not allow Earth to rise so quickly. The galaxy was about to witness the full scope of Earth's power. Every moment that passed made it clearer that the fight for survival was not going to be won by the strongest or the fastest. It was going to be won by the one who could endure. And Earth had endurance in abundance. With each passing battle, the fleet grew stronger, more coordinated, and more unified. Earth was no longer just a planet in the corner of the galaxy, it was a force to be reckoned with. The alien forces were about to learn the hard way that Earth would not back down. The battle for the stars was just beginning, and Earth's fleet was ready to claim its place among the galaxy's greatest warriors. No longer would Earth be a forgotten world. No longer would humanity be underestimated. The time had come for the galaxy to learn one simple truth: Earth would not fall. The battle had reached a turning point, but no one on either side knew how it would end. Earth's fleet had fought fiercely, holding its ground against a galaxy far more advanced than it had ever expected. The alien forces, once confident of their swift victory, had now found themselves in a struggle they weren't prepared for. But for the people of Earth, the battle was far from over. With every victory came a deeper realization. They could win this, but only if they pushed further, harder, and faster than ever before. In the quiet control room beneath the Earth's surface, the commanders watched as the screens flickered, with data showing both the casualties and the triumphs of their fleet. The crews aboard Earth's ships were not just soldiers, they were ordinary people. Fathers, mothers, sons, daughters, fighting for their homes, their families, and their very survival. The emotional weight of their mission was not lost on anyone. The war had taken its toll, but Earth's resolve only seemed to grow stronger. The alien invaders, meanwhile, had underestimated the willpower of humanity. As the alien forces regrouped, the tension in the command room grew thick. The battle was far from won, and the next wave of the alien fleet was preparing to strike with even more strength than before. But Earth's fleet had a secret weapon, a weapon no one else in the galaxy had ever seen. While the alien ships were powerful and fast, they lacked one thing that Earth's ships had in abundance: adaptability. Humanity had learned how to fight back, not just with technology, but with ingenuity, creativity, and sheer determination. Earth had something the alien empire could never comprehend: the ability to survive against the odds. A quiet whisper spread through the fleet's command. A new plan had been developed. Earth wasn't just going to defend, it was going to strike back. For the first time since the war began, Earth's fleet would take the offensive. The plan was risky, but it had one major advantage: it caught the alien invaders completely off guard. The plan would involve a simultaneous strike from Earth's fleet, with each ship targeting a different weak point in the aliens' defense systems. But in order to succeed, the fleet had to move fast, strike hard, and, most importantly, hold nothing back. The countdown began. As the Earth ships positioned themselves, their engines hummed to life. The quiet calm that had taken over the fleet quickly turned into a buzz of frantic activity. The crew knew this would be their hardest mission yet. The alien forces were strong, but Earth's fleet had learned their tactics, had studied their weaknesses, and now it was time to exploit them. The battle would not just be won with firepower, it would be won with precision and unity. Every crew member had their role to play, and the success of the mission rested on their shoulders. The moment Earth's fleet moved into position, the alien empire reacted with lightning speed. The skies above erupted into chaos as the two forces collided in a blaze of blinding lights and deafening explosions. But this time, Earth's ships weren't retreating. They were moving forward, not just to fight, but to conquer. As laser beams sliced through the darkness of space, Earth's ships dodged and weaved with a grace and agility the alien invaders had not expected. Earth's ships weren't built to be the fastest, they were built to be survivors. The alien ships retaliated with everything they had, but Earth's fleet was one step ahead. They knew the aliens' tactics and used that knowledge to their advantage. Every move was calculated, every strike precise. Earth's fleet had evolved from a hidden force into a well-oiled war machine. The once weak human ships now seemed unstoppable. For the alien forces, the first signs of true fear began to set in. Their once unbeaten warships were being torn apart, one by one, as Earth's ships launched wave after wave of relentless fire. The fear spread quickly through the alien ranks. They had always thought they could control the universe, but now they were facing an enemy unlike any they had ever encountered, an enemy that refused to give up, an enemy that fought not just for victory, but for survival. But Earth's victory was not assured. As the battle raged, the alien forces called in their elite soldiers, the most powerful warriors in the galaxy. These warriors had been trained to deal with threats like Earth, and they were not about to let one small planet disrupt the balance of the universe. Their ships were faster, stronger, and more advanced than anything Earth had ever faced. Now, they were coming for Earth's fleet. The battlefield grew more chaotic as the alien warriors entered the fray. Their ships were sleek and fast, darting through space with incredible precision. But Earth's fleet, though battered and bruised, held their ground. The stakes had never been higher. If they failed now, Earth would be crushed under the weight of the galaxy's might. If they succeeded, they would change the course of history forever. As the battle reached its peak, Earth's fleet made its final push. The new strategy was simple: get close, hit hard, and keep pushing forward. With their weapons at full power, the Earth ships surged into the heart of the alien forces. The chaos reached a fever pitch as the two fleets clashed in a massive explosion of light and sound. Earth's ships, their engines roaring with power, fought tooth and nail to hold their ground, pushing back against the alien warriors with every ounce of strength they had left. And then, just when it seemed like Earth's fleet might be overwhelmed, something unexpected happened. The alien ships began to retreat. One by one they pulled back, unable to keep up with the relentless pressure from Earth's fleet. It was a move that shocked both sides. The once mighty alien empire was retreating in the face of an enemy it had thought was weak and insignificant. In that moment, as Earth's fleet surged forward, the people of Earth realized something profound. They had done it. Against all odds, they had fought back the alien invaders. And as the last alien ships disappeared into the darkness of space, the galaxy knew one thing for certain. Earth had earned its place among the stars. But the war was not over yet. There was still much to be done, and many battles left to fight. But Earth had proven something crucial. No matter how great the enemy, no matter how impossible the odds, humanity would never back down, and the galaxy would never forget the day Earth rose to defend itself. The tension in the void of space was palpable, as Earth's fleet faced down the remnants of the once mighty alien empire. The retreating alien ships had been an unexpected development, a sign of weakness from the forces that had thought themselves invincible, but Earth's fleet had already learned the most important lesson of all. Survival was not about strength alone. It was about adaptability. Earth had endured, and now, the true battle was beginning, not just for victory, but for their place in the galaxy. In the command center, deep beneath the Earth's surface, the atmosphere was thick with anticipation. The battle had not been won yet. While the alien empire had retreated for now, they were not going to allow Earth to rise so easily. There was a growing sense of dread that the next wave would be far more powerful. And if Earth's fleet couldn't adapt once again, their victories would be meaningless. The commanders of Earth's fleet knew this was the moment of truth. The enemy had retreated, but only to regroup. This wasn't a time for celebration. It was a time to prepare for the most brutal onslaught yet. Every ship in Earth's fleet had to be at peak efficiency. Every officer and crew member had to be prepared to give everything they had, because if they failed now, Earth would fall. The galaxy would not forget that it had underestimated humanity. As the fleet moved deeper into space, the vastness of the cosmos stretched out before them, the endless expanse filled with both wonder and danger. They had reached a new frontier, one where survival depended not just on the strength of their weapons, but on their ability to outthink and outlast their enemies. The alien forces had learned to fear humanity's resilience, but now Earth had to prove that it could hold its ground. At the heart of the fleet, a new unexpected force was emerging. The humans had not just been surviving, they had been learning. They had been watching the alien strategies, understanding their tactics, and adapting. Earth's fleet was no longer just a defensive force. It was becoming an offensive power, a fleet with a purpose that went beyond simple survival. Earth was no longer trying to protect itself, it was preparing to take the fight to the stars. Far from the front lines, in a quiet corner of Earth's command center, a small group of scientists and engineers had been working on something that could change everything. The fleet's new weapon had been a well-kept secret, one that could shift the balance of power. It wasn't a bomb, nor a missile, nor even an advanced fighter ship. It was a new form of energy, a weaponized form of energy so powerful that it could cut through the hardest metals and penetrate even the most advanced shielding. The weapon was ready. As the alien empire's forces regrouped, Earth's fleet made its final preparations. Their plan was risky, but it was their only chance. They knew the alien fleet would be more formidable this time, but they had a weapon the aliens had never encountered before, something that would blindside them, something they couldn't possibly anticipate. It was a weapon that would force the alien forces to reckon with humanity's true power, not just in strength, but in innovation. The command center buzzed with activity as the final phases of the plan were put into motion. The weapon would need to be deployed at just the right moment, when the alien ships were most vulnerable, but the timing had to be perfect. One misstep, and Earth's fleet would be overwhelmed. The engineers worked tirelessly to ensure everything was in place. This was humanity's last chance. There could be no mistakes. Above Earth, the fleet had gathered in formation, each ship moving with a sense of purpose and unity. The calm before the storm was unnerving. The enemy was out there, waiting, preparing for their final strike. But Earth's fleet wasn't afraid. They had already faced the impossible and survived. They had become something greater than they had ever imagined. And now, They would show the galaxy just how much they had evolved. The first signs of the alien fleet appeared on the radar, a massive armada moving swiftly toward Earth's position. It was clear that this would be the final confrontation. The alien ships, sleek and imposing, seemed to fill the vastness of space, their presence an intimidating reminder of the power they wielded. But Earth's fleet was no longer intimidated. They had proven that they could go toe-to-toe with the best the galaxy had to offer. Now, it was time to prove that Earth had more than just brute force. It had the intellect and ingenuity to win this war. The alien ships closed in, and the battle began. Energy beams flashed across the sky, a deadly dance of light and power. The alien forces launched their assault with all the strength they could muster, but Earth's fleet had prepared for this moment. The new energy weapon, hidden in the heart of their strongest ships, was deployed. The blast was like nothing the galaxy had ever seen, an explosion of pure power, cutting through the alien defenses as if they were paper. The alien fleet reeled in shock as their shields buckled under. The intensity of the blast, it was the turning point. The moment when Earth's fleet proved that it wasn't just fighting for survival, it was fighting for domination. The aliens had underestimated humanity's ability to innovate and adapt, and now they were paying the price. The alien ships, now vulnerable, tried to regroup, but Earth's fleet was relentless. Every ship moved with precision, launching strikes that hit their targets with surgical accuracy. The energy weapon continued to wreak havoc, leaving alien ships in flames. The tide of battle was shifting in Earth's favor. The alien forces began to falter, their once proud warships breaking apart under the relentless onslaught. The fleet that had once seemed invincible was now on the retreat. The warriors of the galaxy's empire were beginning to understand one simple truth. Earth was not a planet to be ignored. Earth was a force that could never be defeated. Thus the alien ships withdrew. The fleet commanders on Earth's side allowed themselves a brief moment of victory, but the war was far from over. They had won this battle, but the war for their place in the galaxy was still unfolding. One thing was certain, though. The galaxy would never look at Earth the same way again. Humanity had proven its strength, its resilience, and its ability to rise when everything seemed lost. The final phase of the war had arrived. Earth's fleet, battered and scarred but unbroken, moved deeper into space. The alien empire, reeling from their losses, had gathered their remaining forces for one last push. The galaxy was watching, its breath held in anticipation. This was the moment that would decide Earth's fate, whether it would rise as a new power in the stars or be crushed beneath the weight of the galaxy's might. The vast emptiness of space stretched before Earth's fleet, a cold, silent witness to the conflict that had raged for so long. The alien forces were closing in, determined to wipe humanity from the cosmos once and for all. But as Earth's ships sailed through the stars, they had one undeniable advantage: the will to survive. The alien fleet, though still formidable, had been weakened. Earth had fought back, proving that its people would never bend, never break. The weapon that had turned the tide was still in play, and Earth's resolve was stronger than ever. But now, the final confrontation would be unlike anything they had faced before. The alien empire had summoned their most powerful forces, the elite of their ranks, the ones who had never known defeat. They were coming, and this time, they would fight with everything they had. In the control room, the commanders of Earth's fleet prepared for the inevitable. They knew the stakes. They knew the price of failure. Every decision, every movement, would be critical. The tension in the air was thick, and for the first time in a long while, they felt the weight of what was happening. It wasn't just a battle, it wasn't just a war. This was the future of humanity, and every soul on Earth rested on their shoulders. The alien ships appeared on the radar, large and imposing, their weapons primed for a final, devastating attack. Earth's fleet, battered but undeterred, rallied together. The hum of the engines echoed through the ships, and the crews aboard each vessel moved with practiced precision. There was no fear in their hearts, just the overwhelming certainty that this was their fight, their moment, and they would not back down. The first shots came as fast and furious as a storm, laser beams cutting through the dark void of space. Earth's ships fired back, their energy shields flashing to life as they absorbed the enemy's onslaught. The battle was fierce, a violent collision of two forces determined to dominate the galaxy. Explosions lit up the sky as alien warships crashed into each other, their once powerful hulls buckling under the weight of Earth's retaliatory strikes. But Earth's fleet was more than just a collection of ships. It was a symbol of humanity's unyielding spirit. The alien forces, though vast and technologically advanced, did not understand what they were up against. They did not understand the power that drove Earth's fleet, the power of survival, of a species that had overcome every challenge, every obstacle, to make it this far. As the battle raged on, something remarkable began to happen. Earth's fleet, once a collection of isolated ships, now moved as one. Their strategy, honed in the heat of battle, was flawless. Each vessel knew its role, each crew member knew their duty. The alien forces, despite their size and strength, began to falter. Their ships were damaged, their lines broken, their confidence shattered. Earth's ships, though fewer in number, were relentless. The tide was turning. It wasn't just the technology or the strategy that was winning this battle, it was the heart of humanity. The alien empire had never expected such resistance. They had never expected to encounter a species so determined, so capable of adapting and fighting back. It wasn't just about weapons or firepower. It was about a people who refused to be defeated. With each passing minute, Earth's fleet pushed forward, advancing against the alien forces with unyielding determination. The weapon that had once been a secret was now fully operational, and its power was undeniable. The energy blasts it unleashed tore through alien shields and tore apart their ships, leaving them vulnerable. The enemy was reeling, their once fleet now on the defensive. The alien leaders, watching from their command ships, saw the shift in the battle. Earth's fleet was winning, and they knew that if they didn't act quickly, they would lose everything. They had thought Earth was insignificant, a backwater planet with no chance against the galaxy's greatest warriors. But they had been wrong. In a final, desperate bid to turn the tide, the alien empire deployed their most devastating weapon, a superweapon, so powerful that it could wipe out entire fleets in a single blast. It was their last resort, their final chance to stop Earth's rise. The weapon was unleashed, and for a moment, it seemed as if all hope was lost. A massive, destructive wave of energy surged toward Earth's fleet, its power unimaginable. But Earth was ready. With a single, unified strike, the fleet countered. The energy weapon that had been developed on Earth's ships flared once again, meeting the alien superweapon head-on. The collision was like a star being born, an explosion of power so intense that it seemed to shake the very fabric of space itself. For a moment, it was as if time stood still, as if the universe was holding its breath. And then, the dust began to settle. The alien superweapon had been destroyed. The alien fleet, once so powerful, was now nothing more than debris scattered. Across the stars, Earth had done the impossible. They had not just survived, they had defeated the galaxy's greatest empire. As Earth's fleet surveyed the battlefield, they realized the magnitude of what they had accomplished. They had fought against the odds, against an enemy far superior in technology and strength, and had emerged victorious. The galaxy, which had once ignored Earth, now knew the truth. Humanity was no longer a forgotten planet. They were a force to be reckoned with. The war had ended, but the future was just beginning. Earth had claimed its place among the stars, and for the first time, the galaxy knew that humanity would never be underestimated again. Earth had proven that no matter how small, no matter how weak, a species could rise to challenge the greatest powers in the universe. And in the silence of space, the galaxy remembered the name of the planet that had changed everything.